Isang makakalikasang gabi, isang maalab na pagbati mula sa inyong kaugnay, kapusod, karugtong. Sa ating mga katutubo, isang pagkilala at parangal sa inyong patuloy na pagpapanatili ng balanse, dignidad at integridad ng kalikasan. Dito sa hashtag Cutie Earth, everything matters. Dahil ang lahat ay magkaugnay, hindi magkakahiwalay. Dahil ang ating buhay, kalikasan ang pinagmulan at pinagkukunan ng ating kabuhayan. Tayo at ang kapaligiran ay iisa. Tayo ay kalikasan. Sa hashtag Cutie Earth, hashtag We Are Nature, ano ang ating nararamdaman? Ano ang kanyang tinitibok? Hashtag Earthbeats. Hashtag Earthbeats. Belief, emotion, action, thought. Beats. Hashtag Earthbeats. Threats are challenges. If I yield to threats, fear comes. The risks involved in this advocacy are inevitable. And being an environment advocate is a lifelong commitment. We are all called to discover for ourselves the amazing link of our lives to nature. Hashtag Earthbeats. Pero bago tayo magpatuloy, dahil meron akong ipapakilala sa inyo na Earth Heroes mamaya, mag-update muna tayo ng kalagayan ng ating bansa tungkol sa pandemya, sa COVID-19. Kaya meron tayong COVID-19 updates. At brought to you by Quarantalk Media, sa araw po na ito, as of September 16, 2020, yung COVID-19 cases in the Philippines, ang total cases po natin na active, 60,344. At sa ngayong araw, meron tayong nadagdag na 3,550 cases. And yung total cases po natin, 272,934. Ngayon, syempre tayo nalulungkot dahil nadagdagan naman yung mga namatay na na-record natin. May 69 deaths. Kaya total po ng mga pumanaw dahil sa COVID-19 sa ating bansa ay 4,732 na. At pero natutuwa naman po tayo dahil may total recoveries po tayo na 207,858 dahil ngayong araw, thank you Lord, 524 recoveries po yung ating natala. Alam mo, mga kaugnay, kapusod at karugtong, may mga naninindigan, maraming tinatakot, ang iba naman ay being killed to their last hininga. They always fight. Kaya dito makikilala natin siya sa hashtag Earth Heroes. Naku, siya po ay matagal lang namatay pero marami tayong matututunan sa kanya. Siya ay si Makliing Dulag. Si Makliing Dulag po ay pinanganak siya mga 1930 at namatay po siya noong April 24, 1980. Isa po siyang leader, no? Tawag doon pangat of the Butbut tribe of Kalinga province in the Philippines. Sumikat po siya, nakilala siya dahil nag-oppose po siya. Tumayo po siya sa isang project ng Marcos regime. Ito po yung Chico River Dam project na it led to his assassination by the armed forces under the command of the then president, yung dating Pangulo na diktador, Ferdinand Marcos. Because of this murder, sa pagkamatay niya, a watershed moment, no, with which united the peoples of the Cordillera in opposition against the dam. Si Makliing Dulag po ay isa sa mga most well-known ng maraming biktima ng martial law under Marcos. And his name, yung pangalan niya, ay nakaukit doon sa bantayog ng mga bayani Wall of Remembrance dyan sa Quezon City. At hindi ko makalimutan sa sinabi niya noon na nakatala ay, ang lupa ay hindi mo pag-aari. Dahil ikaw ay inaari, pag-aari ka ng lupa. You do not own the land because the land owns you. Yan si Makliing Dulag. Tulad ni Makliing Dulag, mga kapusod, kapatid at karugtong, may mga bayaning patuloy na kumikilos para sa lupang hinirang. ang ating inang Pilipinas at para sa whole planet. At upang makilala natin siya at tatalakayin ang Sa Dagat at Bundok, sa Simoy at sa Langit Mong Bughaw, samahan natin siya sa episode 5 ng Earth Talks. Of course, kabataan. Kabataan. Pero hindi lang kabataan, babaeng kabataan na walang tapang na tumatayo para sa likas-kayang kaunlaran at likas-kayang buhay. Siya po, nakilala ko rin po siya at nakasama sa isang international na gawain ng Conference of Parties doon sa Morocco. No? Malayo po, no? Ito po siya, mga kapatid, mga kaugnay, karugtong, si Jen Horn!
Hello!
Ayan, Jen, kamusta ka na? Nako, nakauwi ka na ng Pilipinas, hindi ka inabutan ng COVID-19 sa London. How are you?
Okay naman. Ito, very energized by also this very energetic host. Believe na believe ako sa production niyo, very pro.
ang programa na ito ay, as I have told you, ay pinifeature natin, talagang pinifeature, no? Parang Pinoy na Pinoy. Parang Pinoy Bible. Pinifeature yung ating mga good stories, no? Yung ating mga kwento ng mga kabataang nagmamahal sa kalikasan. At alam mo, nung pinadala ko sa iyo yung theme ngayon, medyo napaisip ka, no? Dahil from ridge to reef, yung theme natin ngayon, mula sa bundok hanggang sa karagatan. Pero syempre, nag-aral ka, na siguro nag-K-12 ka o kaya nag-kinder ka, nag-daycare hanggang nag-high school, hanggang nag-college. Hindi kailan sa'yo. Hindi tawag niyan, hindi mo ma-deny na noong mga taon na yon ay nag-flag raising ceremony. Sa flag raising ceremony ay meron kang pagkanta o pag-awit ng Lupang Hinirang. Yung part na yon, nung part na yun na, halimbawa, mula Bayang Magiliw hanggang sa 5th, no? Yung 5th na taludtod. Taludtod. Ang lalim. Pero alam mo, Jen, nung pinakanta mo yung Lupang Hinirang dito sa taludtod, ano ang unang nararamdaman mo kung maririnig mo at aawitin mo yung Sa Dagat at Bundok, sa Simoy at sa Langit Mong Bughaw? Ang ganda. Anong nararamdaman?
Ngayon na actually na-invite mo ako sa show na to, tapos in-explain mo ngayon yung previous episodes ninyo. Tapos, pinag-muhan syempre tong line na to. Sabi ko, wow, ang pagkakasabi, no? And yes, from ridge to reef, and like everything that you were saying earlier, we are connected. And parang both of those areas I love. Like, ang ganda rin ng feeling na nandun ka sa bundok, tumitingin ka pababa, pero ang ganda rin ng feeling na nandun ka sa dagat, whether from the surface of the water or tumitingin ka down below, seeing the life that's there. So, wala, parang ang ganda rin pala ng image na pinapaint ng Lupang Hinirang para sa atin. Na maybe I don't think I've appreciated that until this conversation. Until you invited me to this show.
Nung pinag-iisipan yung pinag-iisipan ng show na to, sabi natin, the love for the environment must start sa pag-love mo rin kung taga saan ka. Tayo ay Pilipino at yung isa sa mga symbolism pagiging Pilipino ay syempre, dapat pag kinakanta mo yung Lupang Hinirang, may emotion. Pero doon sa kabila ng mga words na yon, minsan hindi na natin, sa ulado lang natin kinakanta, pero nako, ang sarap pala na i-reflect. Kaya may tanong ako sa'yo, Jen. Sa dagat,
tanong ni Rodne.
Sa Simoy at sa Langit Mong Bughaw. Dahil alam ko yung isa sa mga advocacies mo, yung passion, ay, of course, tungkol sa kalikasan. At sa inyong mga paglalakbay sa dagat, paglalangoy, you feel small dahil sa lalim at sa lawak ng dagat at nakikita mo yung bundok na napakatayog. At pagdating mo naman sa bundok, para kang maliit dahil napakalapad ng land, no? Ng terrestrial ecosystem natin. And then sa dagat at bundok, you can feel the breeze, the cold wind, and then when you look up, there's heaven or the sky. And this symbolizes also our relationship with nature, na nakahinga ka ng malalim, ng malinis lahat malinis at very green yung iyong paligid. And we talk about sustainability.
So, are very blue also.
Yeah.
Bughaw.
Yeah. Oo, bilang isang sustainability worker, ano sa palagay mong pinakamalaking hamon sa environmental sustainability? It can be like within the self, at home, pero siguro tignan natin, let's go micro, no? Sa mga Filipino, sa mga Pinoy, sa palagay mo, anong pinakamalaking hamon sa environmental sustainability? Ano dapat ang unahin natin para ma-solve yung ecological sustainability crisis or ecological unsustainable paano ba yan? Crisis. Para sa'yo. Diba? Nangangapa ako. Yes, Jen. Ano dapat na unahin ng mga Pilipino para ma-solve yung crisis na to?
Grabe yung mga tanong ni Rodne, no? Ang lalim. Parang hindi ko naman yata si-save yung world sa conversation na to. Pero, ang hirap sabihin kung anong unahin kasi parang, I think alam naman din ng mga tao na ang daming sort of patong-patong na problema, ang daming brokenness in the systems that we work with, whether social or environmental. And ewan ko, so siguro for me personally, just to drill down on what I do or what I value, not to discount the work that other people are doing because the work that everyone is doing is important. Parang sa akin, kailangan din ng shift in values and in mindset. Parang I think over the past few decades, parang, especially post-World War II, where yung consumption natin sobrang nag-increase, biglang naging very consumeristic society tayo, parang it makes you question lang na, okay, bakit ba tayo acquire ng lahat ng mga bagay na to? Bakit ba tayo masyadong nag-aspire for certain like material things, and then sometimes parang na-lose sight natin yung parang in our pursuit of material things or perhaps our pursuit of profit, we lose sight of what's valuable, whether that's, human connection and relationships and pakikisama sa community mo, whether that's just your neighborhood or sa home province mo or whatever. Paghahalaga sa kalikasan nga, parang parang a lot of times in the pursuit of profit, parang napaka short term nung thinking, nakakalimutan natin na we rape and pillage the earth. Because we want that money now. Pero parang hindi natin naiisip na, okay, a tree standing up has a lot more value than a tree on the ground. Pero yun parang we got used to that. And parang when some people ask din kung kunyari ano yung trigger moment ko or whatever. And well, it's hard to point to just, one moment. Pero there was this point in 2012 and parang nagiging dissatisfied na lang din ako sa sarili kong business. And then itong story of stuff na animation talks about parang how we work in a linear system when it should be more circular. And that's parang as a business owner myself back then, parang yung guilt. Pero I didn't know what to do. Tapos 2012, yun din yung height ng tree cutting issue sa Baguio ng panahon na yun. Dahil sa pag-expand lang ng isang retail complex, di ba? So, yun, parang yun talaga, parang napaisip ako, shucks, there has to be a better way that we, do things or think about things or value things.
That's the trigger sa'yo.
Well, one-off. Parang, that was, parang it was like the needle on the
parang needle siya sa haystack, ano. So ang sabi ni Jen nung 2012, isa sa mga triggers niya ay siguro motivation, ano, yung nangyaring pagputol ng mga pine tree sa Baguio because of, sige, yeah, itago natin sa pangalang mall yung ano na yon, yung retail institution or facility na yon, at because of that I think hundreds of pine trees yung nawala, and we hope na mas titingnan pa ng maayos ng Baguio City, no, government, and right now meron pa ring mga iba't ibang mga issues tungkol diyan na nire-resolve pa rin ng Baguio City government. At yes, while we wait for Jen, syempre while we wait for her, kanina actually may nangyari, no, may nangyari kanina. Ito ay when we talk about sa dagat at bundok, sa Simoy at sa langit mong bughaw. When we talk about dagat and when we talk about bundok, ay meron tayong na very, very sensitive na usapin. Pag sa dagat, Manila Bay. So we talk about the most famous white sand na nilalagay doon, or crushed, they say dolomite, na nilalagay doon sa Manila Bay. Dagat, na ando na. At anong connection niya sa bundok? Dahil may bundok na minina doon naman sa Alcoy, Cebu. So, when we talk about this thing, ito yung tatanungin natin kay Jen. Jen, one of your triggers ay yung mga puno doon sa Baguio, no? Pero kung tatanungin kita, maya-maya, may surprise akong tanong sa'yo. Habang wala ka, may pinag-usapan kami ng sarili ko. Tatanong ko yan sa'yo mamaya. Itago lang natin sa pangalang powdery white. Mamaya, powdery white, kung powdery man siya. But if we talk about Jen, okay, ang powdery white nawala. So, hintay pa rin natin si Jen. Sustainability. At pag sinabi niyang puno, it's just a simple relationship. No? Simple relationship with that creature. At pag sinabi nating puno, simple lang yung kanyang shadow, at pagkatapos niyan pwede kang umakyat, so yung relationship na yon. So this talks about sustainability. Pag translate natin yung sustainability sa Filipino language, it's likas kayang kaunlaran, o likas kaya. Ibig mong sabihin, you utilize the things na naandyan, yung likas, na natural, na hindi nasisira yung kapakanan ng kapitbahay mo o ng ibang mga nilalang. Jen, for you, what is sustainability sa sarili mo? Minsan hindi ito maunawaan ng ating mga kababayan na sa simpleng paraan. How is it to have a life which is likas kaya? Or shall we say, is it a simple life? What do you think about it?
Wow. Parang I remember asking you this question. And then parang ang madalas na sagot ng mga tao dyan, di ba, especially those working in this field, would be the Brundtland definition na parang sustainability is meeting the needs of the present without compromising the needs of the future. Pero parang sa akin actually may question mark din doon, because what do you mean by the needs of the present?
Mm-hmm.
And so parang I guess sustainability is also, just think yung parang sinabi mo nga, it's sort of a life of enoughness, or parang mindfulness, enoughness, hindi yung parang you just keep acquiring more. And parang yun nga, may tendency nga for people to do that. And parang I've also been told that even in times of like recession, once people bounce back from that, there still is this, parang hindi mo ma-describe na parang want for more still, even if parang dumaan ka na nga sa isang recession sometimes daw. So yun, parang yeah, so for me, sustainability is really just about being more conscious about the impact of your daily decisions and how it affects other people and the planet. So it's not just about the environment, it's also very much about people. So
it's like reminding people na tama na, sobra na. Like if we see people na ay yung mga ginagawa nila sobrang nakakaapekto na sa neighbor, nakakaapekto na sa kalikasan at sa buhay ng may buhay. So we always tell people, tama na yan, sobra na yan, dapat sapat.
Tapos parang sa ibang mga circles, mga sustainability circles now, I mean, there's more of this use of the word regenerative and hindi lang sustainability, di ba? Na parang hindi lang yung isa-sustain mo lang yung sarili mo, pero susubukan mo rin na pagandahin lalo yung kalikasan. Or
let it be. If you have a flower, let it bloom. If you have a flower, let it become fruit, and the fruit we will eat, and then you put back the seed on the ground, and then it will grow. Parang, ano ba yung Beatles? Let it be. Or parang si let it go. Anyways, yeah, talking about
Frozen.
Let it go, Frozen na yan. Jen, I have a crazy question. Talking about heroes, no? Sino sa palagay mo ang isang superhero na, eto weird, no? Na nagpo-promote doon sa kanilang mga kwento ng totoong sustainability, environmental sustainability para sa sangkatawan. Na siyempre, tayo mga Pinoy, meron tayong mga idol, si Darna, si Captain Barbell, wag na si Zuma. Pero sa palagay mo, either Pinoy superhero or foreigner o sa pelikula na pwede nating tularan, sino at bakit?
Meron bang Pinoy? I wonder kung if you've asked this and then may mga sagot din na Pinoy. But, syempre, una maisip mo si Captain Planet. Okay, si Captain Planet kasi very inclusive siya. Tinan mo yung friends niya. Pero also, I think, si Black Panther. Okay, ayokong sakalin ako ng mga super comic nerds dyan na baka mali yung sinasabi ko about Black Panther. Pero kung isipin niyo yung Wakanda, di ba, parang it seemed like a very, in a way, sustainable, pero marami din silang tech. So I'm not sure how I feel about all this tech because there's also this fascination with tech and how it's going to save us. Maybe it won't. Pero yeah, okay siya. Like he's also very much for the people. Women empowerment is present in Wakanda, obviously. Tapos hindi ba parang they were also very self-sufficient. As a city. Ayun, tapos yun, parang feeling ko siya isang superhero na medyo sustainability oriented. But yeah, okay, so yes, may follow-up question ka ba doon?
Meron akong follow-up question. Doon kasi sa kwento ni Black Panther, nung humihingi ng tulong ang tawag yan? Yung mga Avengers pa? Yeah. May mga advisors siya, di ba? And there was a time na, syempre nag-iisip siya. Sa ating mga environmental advocates, natural na magkaroon ka ng reflection on what will happen. Was there any time doon sa iyong advocacy, tulad ni Black Panther, na may mga doubts sa iyong...
naman. Yes, for sure. Yeah, parang feeling ko taon-taon naman nangyayari yan eh. Yung parang you just, parang reflect ka, parang tama ba itong ginagawa ko? Is this the best possible use of my, my own personal strengths and resources? Is this the best contribution that I can make? So actually, if I also think about that, yung parang master's dissertation ka nga, where I looked at the motivation of sustainability leaders in the Philippines, parang one of the things that came up was the need for people in this space to always have this reflection. Kasi parang yun yung way mo na i-reaffirm mo sa sarili mo na, hindi, I remember why I'm doing this and this matters. Maybe the way you do it changes, yung how mo changes, pero yung why doesn't. So I guess also over the years, parang what I've done with MUNI and personally, parang it's also changed a little bit. Pero parang at the core of it all, like what we hope to do with MUNI is, yun na nga, parang, you know, actually spark reflection and conversations about yung challenges and possibilities in creating a more mindful, more livable world.
It's actually gathering of minds. Was there any Thanos fighting?
Thanos fighting.
Istorya ng pagka-panther ng buhay mo? Black
Ano
Panther.
no?
Was
May
there
Thanos
any
ba sa buhay ko?
May Thanos ba sa buhay mo o doon sa istorya dahil idol mo si Black Panther at meron mga Avengers at tapos dumating si Thanos, may Thanos ba na mayroon or let's talk about Thanos. Black Panther siguro nemesis siya ni Thanos but in this conversation sabi nila nasa hand mo na yung power to change sabi mo nga hindi natin iligtas ang buong mundo, to change the world. But Black Panther, siya naman ay change his mind, change the minds of his kingdom or whatever it is, the Wakanda. But another man wanted to change everything. What do you think about people telling environmentalists, let's save the world?
Honestly, I would be very scared of people who think that they have the solution to society's problems on their own. Kasi parang may tendency na maging messianic ang feeling mo, ikaw yung may hawak ng tamang sagot. Na hindi mo kinoconsult yung friends mo, which is what happened with him, right? And you know, again, if we talk about what's a more mindful, livable, more inclusive and fair world, that's a discussion that you have with other people, and no one person holds all the answers on their own.
Kung kaya, Jen, sa iyong mga pagkilos at pakikipag-ugnayan, kilalanin natin ang iyong organization at ano-ano ang inyong mga pinagkakaabalahan para kay Nanay Earth dito sa #EarthMoves. Nako, nung marinig ko to, ano ba to? MUNI. So, si Jen po ay founder siya ng MUNI. Let's talk about MUNI. Ano tong MUNI, Jen? MUNI.
So, MUNI, we're an organization that uses, communication to spark reflection and conversations on mindful, sustainable living. So yun, we do this through content, and this year, we actually launched the MUNI on this podcast. Nilaunch namin siya in Feb, actually, right before COVID happened. So medyo parang timing din na we were moving towards this digital platform. And then, you can find MUNI on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. We've also had some of your previous guests, si Ano po on the podcast as well. And then apart from that, before we used to host physical meetups where we could just gather people, parang magchikahan lang or parang to have a panel discussion about a particular topic, whether that's sustainable dining, fashion, travel, parang the different aspects of life na pwede kang mag-apply ng sustainable practices.
So if we say MUNI, it means Muni
Yes.
Muni
Yes,
Muni.
it comes from the Filipino word muni muni.
Muni. Why the word Muni?
Di ba maganda siya? Hindi, pero yun, parang it's really about, parang dun siya nagsisimula yung when you stop and think na parang, okay, ano ba yung impact nitong mga ginagawa ko? Ano ba yung mga dapat kong gawin na mas conscientious, mas pinag-isipan, mas intentional na mga bagay-bagay. Hindi yung parang we're just living the default life that society is imposing on us na we should want more stuff instead of like stopping and reflecting and thinking, what do I need in my life? What brings value? And what are the actions that I will take na hindi makakasakit sa kalikasan at makakabigay pa sa mga tao na, in my community or whatever.
It means, Jen, that in everything we do, we need always to be mindful and prudent. But it does not end there. After muni, reflecting, you act on it. And after acting on it, after na magkilos ka, with muni, you also need to reflect again of what you did. And
yes,
then
for sure.
Level up. Is that through communication, through partnership, and through sharing of best practices and sharing of what can you do? You cannot do this you can do because I learned from it. Is it the spirit of MUNI movement?
Yeah, no, I mean, we don't claim naman na parang, okay, so ito lang, and then end of story. It's always a continuous conversation, and parang, even if we talk about something before, maybe something else comes up and you learn something about, maybe there's this flaw in that solution, or maybe there's another way to do things. And parang we constantly need to have that, humility to learn.
How can they learn more about MUNI? You have social media platforms, website?
Yeah. So we're on Instagram at MUNI_PH. Again, you can also listen to our podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. Just look for MUNI on this. And then, we're also on Facebook. You can find MUNI Community on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, but we also have a Facebook group. So in the Facebook group, pwede kayo mag-interact with other members there. Pwede kayo mag-post ng inyong mga events, itong mga content, whatever, that's related to, the challenges and the possibilities in creating our mindful and livable world.
Yes, and sa iyong advocacies and campaigns, mayroon ka mga pinaniniwalaang prinsipyo, tinatayuan, ipinaglalaban, and we wish to know your everyday mantra dito sa #Earthliners. Yes, may mga hindi ka makakalimutan na mga words o kaya lines o kaya quotes na yun yung gumagabay sa'yo araw-araw. Can you share those words or pieces of words or pieces of phrases sa ating mga manonood?
Well, so I also just got something that I wrote recently na parang every day we have the opportunity to plant seeds of hope nga. And, not all seeds sprout. And some trees take years to grow, before we see them bear fruit. But the fact that we plant those seeds is what makes the possibility of those trees to exist in the first place. So, parang kailangan lagi lang tayo nagtatanim kahit hindi natin alam kung tutubo man siya o hindi. And there's also this Greek proverb na society grows great when old men plant trees, the shade of which they and I forget yung end line. The shade of which they know they'll never sit in, or okay, I'm sorry I messed that up. But it's a good quote and you can look for it. So yun, parang lalo na sa sustainability, di ba, for a lot of people in this space, it's hard for you to know parang the impact of what you're doing, or sometimes it takes a long time. And I don't know, for someone like myself then who's also trying to, talk, just to spark conversations and like, try to inculcate a certain values or certain culture, parang hindi yun yung mga bagay na nangyayari lang overnight. Pero parang, I'm motivated to keep on doing it because I think it matters. And I think that more people who keep talking about, how we should care for nature and care for people and be more mindful, and be hopeful actually. Parang the more that these messages come your way, parang yung sa akin lang din yun eh. Parang it's like, at a certain point, there's gonna be a needle on the haystack. And if you weren't acting before, eventually you will. And I think it's about constantly pushing out those messages because change doesn't happen overnight eh. So yun, parang haba na sagot ko, sorry.
I pick up two, no? I pick up two. The needle in a haystack, you can still find it. And that really talks about mindfulness, meaning to say, dapat lahat ng nakikita mo, nagre-reflect ka doon. Lahat ng maliliit na bagay, nakikita mo. So, mindfulness, not only thoughtfulness, but mindful. But at the end of the day, you're hopeful that you will actually find that needle sa gitna ng haystack na yan. I've heard, Jen, on top of MUNI, of course, I heard that you also teach sa isang university. Marami kang pinagkakakitaan. And with that, naandyan pa rin yung mantra mo na mindfulness, hope, dapat hopeful ka at the end of the day. So, tell us something about what you do maliban dun sa MUNI.
So yeah, I'm also a part-time lecturer on sustainability at Ateneo, teaching at the School of Management. Although, syempre, as you probably know, last semester was cut short. So I'm going to be teaching like a fully online class this semester. So yun, parang, coming from my master's also in the UK last year, parang one of the things I really wanted to do when I came back to the Philippines was to share that knowledge, share that information, and really connect also with younger people. So parang that was my channel to do that as well. I mean, apart from MUNI. Yeah.
What is your discovery doon sa, because I know I was interviewed by you and so many environmental advocates and movers. Ano yung na-discover mo lalo na sa mga Pilipino na they work for sustainability and environment? Can you share something about what you studied and your discoveries?
If I just want to like zone in on a few highlights. So and I hope that's also how I'm guided in both what I do with MUNI and how I teach also, is that first you really need to nurture hope. Kasi ang dami talagang nangyayari ngayon. Grabe 2020, hindi pa siya tapos. Pero alam mo yon, there's so many, like a lot of people are really struggling this year, and parang finding hope in this situation is, a struggle for a lot of people who even used to be very hopeful and optimistic, diba? Pero parang one thing, so you have to nurture hope. And sabi nga there's this author, Rebecca Solnit, is parang uncertainty is the space for hope because you don't know what's going to happen. Therefore, you can act, and hope is fueled by action. So because you don't know what's going to happen, you can still make an effort and just try something or do something. So yeah, nurturing hope. And you can really do that by, setting, short-term goals and long-term goals and just finding ways to move forward. And then second is experiential learning. And really, it goes back to a lot of what you were saying about parang we are nature. And like, parang how do we connect people with nature? So that's also an important factor. Kasi yung love for nature is also really what, you know, inspired a lot of people to do their work in sustainability. So yeah, just exposing them to nature. And now it's a struggle, of course, for people to go out. Pero yung simple thing lang of, ako, magtanim ka ng okra sa isang paso, yung miracle of life in that sprout is also pretty amazing. And I'm sure na if parents started to do that with their children and just tell them about, you know, oy, this is where okra comes from, isn't that amazing? You know, that's something. And then lastly, it's really about community, or creating an enabling environment, or having, you know, sort of social support for the work that you do. Whether it's with your parang team or your boss or whatever, na they have there's a supportive workplace, or you have peers in the same space where you can be parang each other's sounding board. And yun, parang those are really the most important things.
Those three, no? Mag-review lang tayo. So the first is you need to nurture hope.
Yeah.
Second is experiential
Learning.
So we need to learn. And number 3 is enabling environment. It's the community, your fellow human beings na magkipag-partner at all together, you need to act, magkilos tayo. So don't forget, mga kaugnay, no? Nurture hope, experiential learning, napaka-importante. And with that,
connect with nature. Connect with people, if that's easier or nicer sounding.
Nurture hope.
Instead of like, so nurture hope, experiential learning by either connecting with nature or connecting with people, and then enabling environments or social support.
Wow, those 3. So sa mga environmental advocates, kasi minsan buryong na buryong, minsan burn out na tayo, minsan nawawala na tayo ng pag-asa, at minsan yung thinking na tayo lang makakasolve niyan, messianic, may messianic mission ka. But always think of number 3, yung enabling environment, yung support system. Kailangan natin ng support system, lalong-lalo na sa mga panahon na ito. At pero syempre, don't forget yung number 2, ha? Sabi nga ni Jen, ay napaka-importanting naging plantito at plantita na tayo. Magic, ano? We now learn how to nurture and how to experience nature. But, of course, nandyan pa yung medyo hindi pa mature na parang, beautiful, magplantito-plantita ka muna. Pero, ang sabi nga, what if, kung itatanim mo yung makakain mo for your survival? Or this. That's what we call sustainability as well, na simple life, na makakain mo ba ang succulent? Makakain mo ba ang... Well, yun yung sa mental health natin. Mas magandang mag-mental health tayo sa mga plants, wag lang sa white sand doon sa Manila Bay. May question ako dyan, Jen. Dahil merong napag-aralan mo yung sustainability, no? Sa lifestyle and even sa development, for example. What's your take on the dumping of crushed dolomite sa Manila Bay? Sa Baywalk. Sa angle ng sustainability, because it's what you've studied, no? That's your I mean, your simple view on that.
I don't know. It's just not even coming from like a technical, standpoint. It doesn't make sense. Like, why? Bakit mo pa gagawin yun? Parang hindi siya kailangan. Tapos, para saan pa? And then you're transferring, you're transferring things to another place where it doesn't really belong. And to what end? Parang ano yung point? Parang, and kung sabihin mo na, gusto mo siyang gawing mas maganda or mas kaaya-ayang puntahan, parang hindi yun yung best way siguro para gawin yun, di ba? I'm sure there were a lot of other ways. And syempre, you will wonder whose interest does this actually serve, right?
Controversial issue. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk more about it. Jen, sometimes, dahil sa dinami-daming ginagawa naburyong tayo, burnt out tayo, at masakit ang ulo na, dumadagdag yung mga wrinkles natin. We always have some days off. Even kung may days off naman tayo, minsan marami pa rin nagtatanong sa atin tungkol sa mga buhay-buhay. We stop, reflect, and 3, 2, 1, pause, and post. Kaya we got you dito sa #EarthGlams. Well, these are some pictures sa public domain na nakita namin, and we wanted you to comment on these photos. This may be your photo, this may be some others' photos, or controversial photo. But yeah. So let's look at this first photo. Ano kaya ito? Surprise, surprise, surprise. Ano kaya itong photo na to? Tell us something about this photo, Jen.
I'm sorry, asan siya? Where am I supposed to see it?
Yan, kita mo na.
Ay, grabe! Hindi kayo
Yes,
napapaalam. Yeah, so this was me. I was skin diving in Bawal in Cebu. So, yun.
Talk about the dagat, no?
Dagat, oh.
So you have this, again, parang may pagmamahal ka rin sa ilalim ng dagat. Sometimes they will say, our life ay parang nalulunod na tayo. Pero with that, what is your learning when you go skin diving? Kasi minsan, yung karamihan pag nag-days off tayo, may bakasyon tayo para lang maging masaya tayo. But I think deep inside, we long for those activities na nakaka-fulfill ng ating mga dreams, but at the same time ay may satisfaction. What makes you satisfied when you go skin diving sa dagat or scuba diving in this context?
Well, it's just a very ibang sense of calm. Well, I think it's calmer for me when I'm doing scuba because I don't have to think about my breath hold. I'm not a very good skin diver. That was just a good picture. Pero yun, parang iba lang yung feeling and yung connection mo with the fish. Kasi parang ako and the corals. And for me, it took me a while then to get over that fear. Kasi, well, first natuto ako mag-scuba and hindi naman ako marunong hindi ako confident with my swimming. And I think it's different na meron kang breathing and buoyancy, meron kang buoyancy device. Whereas with skin diving, it's like a more intimate connection with nature and you don't have as much protection. Pero
Netflix na movie, yung My Teacher Octopus. You watch that?
No, I have not.
Yeah, so we go to the next photo. We hope to learn more about you. And this photo,
ma-shock na naman ako sa picture na yan. Oh, saan yan? Lol. So this was in Lotus Pod Farms. I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what you want. Ano yung prompt mo, Rodney?
Yeah. Talk about the Lotus Farm. I think Lotus Farm is an organic farm as well.
Yes, also.
I heard that you are also doing your gardening at home. And what do you think is the role of organic farming or even planting or from garden to table? And with this, I think it's part of our daily lives now, during the pandemic.
Yeah, no.
Security and sustainability.
I think it's really important. Okay, ayoko siya maging parang conversation na elitist mga titas of Manila na mala organic farming or whatever. Kasi, lahat naman ng tao actually nagtatanim eh. And it's not about being like, ooh, organic farming and let's have my kale or whatever, di ba? Pero, parang important, parang feeling ko napaka-important na bagay na itong COVID nga has really introduced a lot of people to urban food farming. And you know, parang it doesn't matter kung anong walk of life ka, anong status mo. Parang I think it's something that people across classes can relate to, na parang the joy of, I don't know, harvesting your own okra or pechay or kamatis or sile, whatever. So, yeah, and parang isa siyang vital way to stay connected with nature. And for me, personally, as someone who is attempting her own parang food garden, it's really, you know, like sabi mo, parang nabanggit mo kanina yung mental health, and it's definitely one of the things that has helped keep me somewhat sane. So like sa umaga, yeah.
Going to the last photo, what have you learned? Ano yung natutunan mo sa almost 6 months na quarantine in relation to what we do sa environment? Well, this is the last photo. And this will actually remind you of something, you know, and when we were in that place, no, and now we're 6 months in confinement. We cannot go out, and then there are bigger battles. We have battles sa sarili natin, sa ating pamamahay, sa communities, and then beyond pandemic, beyond our confinement, we still have bigger battles such as climate crisis. No? So, parang, nako, pagkatapos ng pandemic, ito marami pa rin tayong problema. Pero ngayon nakukulong tayo. So, with this, it talks a lot of issues, no? But first, tell us something about this photo, and we relate this to our topic at
hand. I'm not sure. Is this your photo or is this my photo?
That's your photo.
Really? Oh my gosh. Okay. This must have been some random street, and I just took a picture in some random street na meron siyang folding bike. Nako, Rodney, hindi ko maalala itong picture na to.
This is, I think, Morocco in Marrakesh.
Oh. Okay. Ayun, that was my introduction to COP and climate negotiations. Medyo nasabit lang ako doon. Pero it was very interesting to see like the work that you guys were doing, and to just witness that energy, and like see, like I saw Jane Goodall. I didn't talk to her. Pero yeah, that was a very interesting experience, and I'm proud of the delegates that were there with me. And I was just humbly learning from people.
And as you know, hindi natuloy yung Conference of Parties ng United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change this year. Dapat ay sa Glasgow siya. I think this was COP 22, no? This is in Morocco in 2016. And ngayon ay mag-COP 26, which is supposed to be Scotland. Hindi siya natuloy. I really choose that photo because it talks a lot, no? Kung i-relate natin sa pandemic na na-confine tayo, walang public transport. Sabi nga natin, nakaka-reflect tayo, nakapag-muni-muni tayo sa mga kinagawian natin, na mga simpleng pamumuhay, yung ating kultura, na yung bond natin sa pamilya ay mas nasi-strengthen, natuto tayong magtanim, natuto natin i-appreciate yung mga tanim na hindi pa natin nakita, na gusto nating tanggalin doon sa kagubatan at ilagay sa, gusto nating maging gubat ang ating kwarto. But you know, the simple things that we have actually dapat ay na-enjoy natin naturally. At ngayon lang natin na-realize. At we see the bicycle, ano. Nagbibisikleta ka ba, Jen?
Yes. Well, not as much as I used to. So, ayoko magpanggap na sobra ako. Mas sobra akong mas bibo before. Pag uwi ko from the UK, parang natakot ako ulit. Pero I'm trying to get back on it.
Yeah, and the picture says 1,000 words when it comes to sustainability. So, sabi mo nga, it's culture. Sustainability really is related to culture. And when we talk about culture, we talk about the actions of our ancestors, ng ating mga katutubo, and we can actually learn from it. So last question. What have you learned from the pandemic?
Wow.
From your confinement?
Well, I feel like you've already said a lot of things. In terms of some of the lessons that we're taking away. Shocks. Yun na nga, parang just realizing na a lot of the things that bring us joy aren't things that are extractive. I mean, not inherently, diba? I mean, biglang na-realize ng mga tao ngayon, you know, you can, regenerative pa nga yung mga gusto natin gawin. Magtanim tayo, mag-usap tayo as a family, like connect with people. Ngayon, mas conscious yung mga tao na nagkakamustahan sila ng genuine na kamusta ka, hindi yung masabi lang na kamusta ka, diba? And then, yeah, just, I think also, well, it depends. I guess for different, it's a different experience for different people. But I hope na itong time din, a lot of people are being more forgiving towards themselves and parang not putting as much weight or pressure na they have to achieve certain things. Kasi in a way, parang yung thinking din na yun, it's like that very, I don't know, this exponential growth sort of mindset na it's not just acquiring more things, but also just like this constant need to be productive, diba? And parang in lockdown, parang you wonder, okay, ano ba talaga yung essential? And I hope this time, if anything, is just reminding people what is truly essential.
And si San Antoine Exupéry ay merong dyan, ano? The Little Prince, what is essential is
invisible to the eye.
Thank you so much, Jen. And thank you sa MUNI. And papaano ka ba mag-contact? May Twitter handle ka ba? Instagram? Personally, kung para mas malaman pa nila yung mga ginagawa. Can you share with our viewers social media?
Yes, so you can follow MUNI at MUNI_PH. We're on Instagram. We're also on Facebook, MUNI Community. We have a MUNI community page and a MUNI community group. And you can also follow my personal account. It's on Instagram at @JenHorn_. Kasi taken na yung Jen_Horn.
Yeah.
And Jen Horn.
Yeah.
So yun lang.
And before we leave, of course, magpaalam kami ni pansamantala ni Jen. Right now, marami tayong natutunan at dapat pagkilusan. Our hopes and dreams need action. At syempre sa mga kabataan, hey, hindi ka na ang kinabukasan dahil ikaw na ang ngayon na humuhubog sa iyong hinaharap. At para sa iyo, para sa iyong family, friends, and communities at sa buong ecosystems. Before kami mag-goodbye, pansamantala, isi-share po muna namin yung aming series of programs sa Quarant Talk Media. So, yes, from Monday hanggang Friday, mayroon po tayo 9 p.m. Quarant Talk with Jules and Aya. Hi Jules, hi Aya. And Tuesdays po, 9 p.m. the main agenda with Ate May, Jermaine Nalandoni Derunya. And Wednesdays po ay 7 p.m. Kilos Kabataan ni Jules at 9 p.m. Cutie Earth. Cutie Earth, kasama po ako ninyo. And Thursdays, we have Throwback Kasaysayan with Professor Gio Giyang. Kuya po yan ni Jules, taken na yan, ha? And 10:30 Inuman with Thais and Rafi, with Thais Estrada. Oo, Rafi Magno. And the Fridays, 9 p.m. SDG Online Tambayan with 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines Incorporated. Handog, ito sa inyo na hashtag Quarant Talk Media. Empowering the Filipino, inspiring action, and serving the people. And with Jen, right now, dito sa hashtag Cutie Earth, everything matters. Dahil ang lahat ay magkaugnay, hindi magkakahiwalay dahil ang ating buhay, kalikasan ang pinagmulan at pinagkukunan ng ating kabugayan. Dahil tayo at ang kalikasan, kapaligiran na iisa, tayo ang kalikasan. And before we end, a quote from Pope Francis sa encyclical letter niya na Laudato Si on Care for a Common Home number 79, sabi niya, in this universe, shaped by open and intercommunicating systems, we can discern countless forms of relationship. and participation. This leads us to think of the whole as open to God's transcendence within which it develops. And faith allows us to interpret the meaning and the mysterious beauty of what is unfolding. Ako po ang inyong lingkod at kaugnay face-to-face at sa social media, Kalikasan101, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Gmail. You may visit my website, rodgalicha.com, at ang livinglaudatosy.org.ph. May petition po kami dyan. At sabay-sabay kami ni Jen na magpapaalam sa hashtag #QTEarth.
Hashtag We Are Nature.
Nature! Thank you! God bless us all.